going on?
I'm trying to get jacked a little protein.
I'm just tired.
Well, you should be tired this early, and you probably shouldn't be drinking that much protein this early. So let's go talk to Mr. Law too. Maybe he has some healthier breakfast options.
Hey guys, what's up?
Nothing much. Just trying to get a little protein in my diet.
I'm tired.
Oh, all right. So you guys are looking for some ideas on what to eat? Start your day off?
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, I've got some things to think about. One of the things that you definitely want to look at is you want to look at whole foods with minimal processing. And today I brought you a little something from my friends at Jovial Foods. They donated this for us to try. This is what we call an ancient grain. So we're going to start our day off with an ancient grain. If you want to take a look at that, right? What this is this is a 1,000-year-old wheat, but not this wheat itself. It's not actually 1,000-year-old, but the breed is 1,000 years old. And it's got minimal chromosomes. It's got a lot more protein, a lot more nutrients. So it's very nutrient dense. And we're going to take this today. We're going to turn this into some waffles. You guys want to come on back with me?
Heck
We'll
yeah.
check this out.
I love food. Let's go back.
All right.
Do it.
All right, so we've got 7 simple ingredients to make some waffles, and we've already kind of ground up our flour. We used a simple coffee mill to do that. We're going to add a teaspoon of baking powder. We're going to add some coconut flour for some added dietary fiber. I'll give this to Alexia to go ahead and start whisking that up to mix that real good as your dry ingredients. Next, we're going to add 2 eggs, high dense source of protein, a lot of vitamins and minerals. Smart balanced oil, which will be high in omega-3s and omega-6s. We're going to use some vanilla flavored almond milk, assuming you don't have any nut allergies. Then we're going to use a splash of vanilla just for more flavoring. No sugar is going to be added to this, so it's going to be all the natural ingredients. Then when we're all done cooking them up, we're going to add just a simple syrup here, and when you look at the ingredients, there should only be one thing in maple syrup, and that is maple syrup. All right, and our oil. Our eggs. Add some almond milk. We'll thin that down if we need to, or add a little bit more. We'll go with a splash of vanilla. All right, Alexia, do you want to go ahead? All right, that's good.
We're going with this.
Just sit right there. Perfect. All right. So now we'll just ladle this into the waffle maker. While we're cooking that up, you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. If I wanted a snack between like school and after-school activities, what would be a good snack idea for them?
I got some ideas for you. This right here is going to represent the amount of sugar that's recommended that you get in one day. A lot of times, people like to have yogurt first thing in the morning. And yogurt, when it comes from a pre-made container with fruit added at the bottom or fruit on the top, fruit on the side that you're going to stir in, it's generally going to have about 14 grams of added sugar, in addition to the natural sugar. Now, natural sugars aren't part of that added sugar and don't count towards this 32. But if you're looking to count your sugars and not keep from going up and down, kind of what's happening to you a little bit is you're going to want to make sure you're not getting added sugars. So I'm going to show you some just basic yogurt. Just plain Greek yogurt. Put it in the container, doesn't take you long to do. First thing in the morning, add some frozen fruit or some fresh fruit. You got natural sugars, great source of protein, no added sugars, no 14 extra grams. Another option for you? Obviously any kind of fruit, apples, pears, oranges, clementines. And if you can tolerate them, you don't have an allergy and you can eat them in certain areas of the school, peanuts and any kind of tree nut. Cashews, any of those. It'll be very dense in proteins and nutrients.
So would these be good then between like breakfast and lunch or lunch and dinner?
Absolutely. Easy to carry, easy to take with you anywhere you need to go and eat them. You don't need special utensils.
And for hydration, do you recommend Gatorade for electrolytes?
Well, studies have shown that when you have salt in your diet through solid foods as opposed to getting sodium through a drink, that you actually retain more of that sodium and can use that for your nerve impulses and for your athletic performances. However, if you're running low and you start cramping up, then yes, during a competition or right after a competition, you probably want to look at having some electrolyte solutions. Absolutely.
Hey, Coach Pickett, come try this.
Hey, all right, just in time, Coach.
Oh,
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Sounds like I have good planned timing or something of that nature. I'm here at the right time. That's what it is.
All about timing.
Yeah, it's all about timing.
All about timing, brother. So today we made some waffles with a new kind of wheat. Nice thing about these waffles is you can make them ahead of time, throw them in a freezer bag, pull them out of the freezer, microwave for about 25 seconds, pop them in the toaster, nice and crunchy. What do you guys think?
Very good.
Yeah, very light.
If I want to get a higher protein content, what's another meal I could do or add to this?
Well, we got Chef Musto's in the house with us here today, so he's going to put on a demonstration about having eggs.
Awesome.
Let's go check it out.
Talk about timing.
Hi there, Chef Musto here from the Culinary Arts Kitchen at the Hive at Saline High School. And today I'm going to present cooking eggs 3 different ways. So the first egg that we're going to do today is a baked egg. And you may have never had an egg in this format. So to do this, we're going to want to grease the bowl. You'll just want to generously coat the sides and inside of the ramekin. We're going to fix 2 eggs for each of these recipes. So we're going to go ahead and crack these eggs into an empty bowl. And when cracking eggs, one of the rules for sanitation is that we always crack into a separate container to check for shells and to make sure that the egg was cracked in a whole form. So we're going to take these 2 eggs, there's no shells in here, and we're going to pour them right into the ramekins. They're in whole form, they have not been scrambled. So what we do in culinary arts is we melt the butter and we skim off, ladle off, or pour off just the clarified part. And what I have here is this, what we call a higher smoking point. So this butter now can get really, really hot and it's not going to brown, it's not going to burn. Okay, so in the dish, we're going to top it with some ingredients, and this is where you can really get creative and healthy. I have here some cherry tomatoes, so I'll put a few of those in there to saute. I've got some sliced mushrooms. I've got some peppers that I actually roasted in the oven, peeled, and that will give this a nice smoky flavor. And we're just going to do a quick little saute on this. Doesn't take very long. The longer you cook a vegetable, typically the more nutrients that you're going to take out of the vegetable. So this will be a very short cooking process. What's going to happen at this point is I'm going to put my baked egg into the oven. I'm going to add to it a little bit of heavy cream, and you just need a very little bit, and that's going to go on there. Now once again, if you want to reduce calories or reduce fat, you can use whole milk. You can actually use water instead of the cream. I'm going to bake this in a 350 oven for about 3 minutes. Once I pull it out, the egg will harden, and then I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top and stick it back in the oven. I'm going to then coat it with my sauteed vegetables. I'll finish this dish to get a little bit of green in our diet. I'll go ahead and finish this dish with a little bit of fresh cilantro, parsley, any type of herb that I can put on top. Let's go to our second cooking technique and our second recipe, and that's going to be the classic omelet. Now for most of you, you've probably done an omelet at home, but there's a couple key points that you may not have done at home, and I want to mention those. So the first thing is the idea of the clarified butter going into the pan, leaving the milk solids at the end. This way we can get the pan nice and hot. We're going to rotate our butter all the way through the pan. Now when it comes for the eggs of the omelet, once again we're going to crack these eggs, and I'm going to do it once again into a separate container, checking to see that there's no shells and that the egg's fresh. Once in a while you crack open an egg and it's not good. So we're going to crack those in. Now here's the part that a lot of people don't know, is I want to whip these eggs and I want to use some water or cream. The water or cream, and especially water, and a good wire whip will make the eggs fluffy and make your omelet a lot more enjoyable to eat. So I'm going to whip these up. A lot of times people will do this at home with a fork, but give them a good whip. Get some air. The purpose of a whip is to incorporate air into the product. So I've got those in pretty good shape now. I'm now going to my hot pan. I'm going to go ahead and pour that right in. And you should hear a little bit of sizzle. Turn up the heat just a little bit here. And you'll start to see in the pan here that it's going to stick to the sides of the pan. And now at this point is really where a lot of people get lost. They don't know what to do with their omelet. Do I stir it? Do I mix it? What do I do? Well, actually, if you have the pan hot enough, what will happen is the egg will start to harden, obviously, and what you want to do is take your spatula and push away and drip the yolk towards the middle. So it's this constant kind of pushing in and pulling the pan till you have no more runny part on the egg. You can see here in my pan that now I have very little that's running anymore. I want the egg to firm up just a little bit harder than what it is. I can throw in my saute, once again, same type of saute that will go on top, and do a little bit of seasoning with some salt and white pepper. If you don't want to use salt because your diet is prohibitive or you don't want that salt in your diet, fresh herbs are a good choice. So now my egg it's loose because I'm in a non-stick pan, it's firm. You want to stop cooking your eggs when they're a little bit runny. And that's one thing for a lot of young people. They overcook their eggs, they become rubbery, and they become kind of hard. So at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spatula and fold over, and I'm going to roll all the way through, and there I have a perfect omelet. Let's move on to our third technique for cooking eggs. In the pan, I have some boiling water, and what I'm going to make here now is a poached egg. The poached egg is probably the healthiest of all of the types of eggs that I'm doing here today. I'm going to add to this boiling water a little bit of vinegar. Now what the vinegar does is it keeps the egg together because we're going to crack this egg into a gentle simmering boiling water. And so we'll just add a little bit over a teaspoon of vinegar into that water. I have a very gentle boiling going here. Once again, I'll crack the egg into a separate container. And this is kind of the tricky part here. As this water boils, I'm going to slowly but gently drip the egg into the boiling water. Now what will happen is the egg will congeal, and I'll show you here in just a minute. Let's get a quick shot on what that looks like while I grab a slotted spoon. And if you can see inside of this pan, the egg is now starting to congeal. Typically, if you crack an egg into boiling water, it's going to spread all over the pan. It's kind of like if you go to a Chinese restaurant and have egg drop soup. They scramble the egg, dump it in, and it goes all over the pan. But what I want in this scenario is I want the egg to stick to itself. The vinegar is helping to do that. And if I gently kind of swivel this egg a little bit, the boiling water is going to cook the egg. And I'm going to take this out in just a second. As soon as it's done, and place it on the plate, you'll get a chance to see what that egg looks like cooked. Once again, this is a really healthy method to eat the egg because I didn't add any fat. I didn't add anything that would add to the calories. Sometimes a poached egg is new for people. Not used to eating the egg that way, but the reality is the raw yolk is rich and tasty. Once the white of the eggs is cooked, I can now very gently come with my slotted spoon and I'm going to just fish this right out of here. The slotted spoon will let me drain any water. And there we go, we have a beautiful poached egg. You'll often see this Eggs Benedict with the hollandaise sauce, so that's the technique that we're going to use for that. I've got one last technique that I want to show you today, and that is for those of you that are in a real hurry and maybe what I showed you looked a little too difficult, and that's simply just an egg cooked in the microwave. A lot of people haven't done this. Once again, we're going to crack that egg into a separate container. I'm going to throw it in my bowl once again and whip it with a little bit of water to make it fluffy and give that a really good whip. Incorporating air into that egg. And now we're going to take our ramekin. To make this locale, I'm going to spray it with nonstick spray. Dump my scrambled egg into the ramekin. At this point, I can go ahead and season it. This goes into the microwave for about 1 minute. Let me go do that and I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. And here we go, just less than a minute in the microwave. And if I go ahead and dump this out onto the plate, I now have a scrambled egg. Healthier, probably more gourmet as poached egg. So I hope that gave you some ideas about egg eating. There's a lot of protein in eggs. They're very inexpensive. And I did this in just a couple minutes. Enjoy eggs for breakfast.